Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me just try to tell the story the way I see it unfolding. So last fall, you make a decision, and circumstances such you're going to acquire Merrill. In the midst of all that, the TARP bill passes. Through our testimony we got from Mr. Lewis earlier this year, he indicated 9 days after TARP passes, the biggest financial institutions are brought to Washington. They are told they need to accept TARP money. He makes a call to board members and decides to do that. In the midst of all this last fall, you look to exercise the MAC to, in my judgment, put more pressure on Merrill because you see they're losing more than you initially thought. You want to get a better deal, what two businesses do all the time. The government said no to that. In fact, based on testimony we've heard, even though Mr. Moynihan, in answering the chairman's question, said differently, and based on what we've heard, there was some kind of at least subtle pressure placed on Bank of America to go through with the deal. In fact, we have the letter from Attorney General Cuomo which suggests that, says that Mr. Lewis and the board would be gone if in fact they did not follow through on the Merrill deal. You sought assurances, as Mr. Issa pointed out in his questioning, from the incoming players, likely players in an Obama administration. You actually sought them in writing. They said they wouldn't put anything in writing, but our assumption is you got some kind of verbal assurances to proceed further with this. So let me just ask a couple questions. Is that in fact the case, that you received assurances in some form other than writing from the likely folks to be involved in the Obama administration at the Treasury Department, that if in fact things got worse, they would be there with additional TARP dollars to help Bank of America? And we can go right down the list, and I'd like a yes or no to that if we could. Mr. Moynihan, we'll start with you.
We received statements from the current Secretary Paulson and Chairman Bernanke that as we worked through from mid-December in the 2 weeks we had to work through it, that if we went forward, that we would receive some sort of assistance, which we finally negotiated and actually closed in January of 2009. As to the statements of the incoming administration, I think Mr. Lewis has testified to that he, in his conversations with those people, he was told that they had heard about the transaction. I was not part of those discussions.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear. Was there a promise made from the incoming Obama administration that they would be there to back you up if in fact that's what Bank of America needed?
I don't know that because I was only told what Mr. Lewis's conversation was, which I assume.
Mr. Gifford?
I was aware of no such promise.
Mr. May? Mr. Mayopoulos?
I was aware of no such promise.
Okay.
Neither was I.
Were you aware of assurances? I mean, something short of the word promise. Were you aware of that?
As I understood it from our chief executive, he was told, or he told, that
and he related that to you.
He related that to us, that the new members, the new administration, were aware of the discussions.
Okay.
Not
Mr. May, would you agree with that?
We were being apprised pretty regularly of the progress that was being made from the
let me move to the end of the story here, or at least what we hope is the end. Kind of cut to the chase of where we are today. How much TARP money has Bank of America received?
We've received $45 billion in total.
$45 billion. And what is your cash position today? You've said, all of you said this was a good deal. It's worked out for the shareholders. You know, wonderful apple pie. God bless America. The whole thing. So, what's your cash position today?
Our cash position is in excess of around $150 to $200 billion.
Have you paid back the TARP money?
We have not paid it back yet. We've been clear that our goal is to pay it back as soon as possible.
And why haven't you paid it back, Mr. Moynihan?
As last week they issued a series, the federal government issued a series of requirements to pay it back, and we're looking at those.
Have you asked the federal government to pay it back? Yes or no?
It's not.
Have you got permission? I mean, what's preventing you? You got a $150 billion cash, positive cash position, and you owe the taxpayers of this country $45 billion. Why hasn't it been paid back?
As you could look at the guidelines, it takes a series of steps and a series of requests and answers.
If you could, would you pay it back?
If we could, yes, we would pay it back. We've been clear with our intention to pay it back as soon
as.
And
is there, in your judgment, are there hindrances or obstacles that the Obama administration is putting in place that are preventing you from paying it back?
I think the question that that the government's looking at this is to make sure we can all stabilize the economy, which was the intention. And I think we've, as I said earlier, we've done a pretty good job of doing that, as have our colleagues that received the money. And I think
In your professional judgment, why the hindrances? Why can't you get that money back to the federal government, pay back the taxpayers?
I think we just have to be assured that if we do that, then the economy is in the kind of shape, and for a company like ours, which supports America and around the world businesses, that we can.
Would you agree that, in fact, of October, we ran the highest deficit single-month deficit in American history. Last fiscal year ran the highest single annual deficit in American history. Wouldn't you think that the new administration would want that money to get back into the Treasury and help with that situation?
I think you'd have to ask them that. Our intention would be paid.
Gentleman's time has expired.